Hello everyone. So I just thought I'd make a little video, hopefully it doesn't turn out too long for you, on how I stain some of these woods that I carve or whittle. It'll involve a little bit of painting where his jeans and his black shoes or feet are, and his eye there. I'm just get a very small little head of a brush there. I'm going to dip it in some water on my paint pad I've got, and I'm just going to soak the area of that eye with just a little bit of water. Doesn't need to be, a lot of water drained on there or anything like that. It's just a little brush full of water. It'll help the white paint sink in to the actual wood rather than maybe sitting on the surface of the wood itself. Okay, so I've got a little bit of white paint here as well. It's not going to take a lot. No point wasting it all when you don't need much of it there. If you start with a faint amount of white on the brush, like I have here now, you won't get a lot of paint marks all over the wood in areas that you don't want them, and having to take it back and get the knife out. And okay, so that's where the eye will end up being. So I'm just going to leave for a couple of minutes now while I get my stains out of the drawer, etc. And let that soak in. Actually, I could do the jeans as well, I suppose. Get a different brush for that. So the blues for the jeans. Doesn't matter what brand it is, guys. I mean, this is just called Windsor blue, but like a royal blue sort of colour. I tend to put just a little bit on the edge there. It doesn't take a lot. I'm going to soak the brush. Just going to take a little bit of that blue. As you can see, that really didn't take much to get that blue colour, and this very watery. I'm just going to let it soak in to the jeans. I don't have to be too fussy with the shoes because the shoes are going to be black, so it's a darker colour. Okay. Now you can see how quickly that's just seeped straight in there. Okay. And it's not as dark as what they are. Let me get you a little bit closer. So this is more of a solid colour finish compared to that one is sort of almost transparent blue. Okay, so I would urge you to give that a go rather than the solid blue colours to start with. You can obviously paint over it and finish it off solid blue if you want, but you might be surprised what that effect will leave. If you do this watered down now and then leave it dry, you can apply an oil finish on top of that once it's dried, and that will make it look like a worn pair of jeans, a used pair of jeans, an old tattered pair of jeans, but you'll get the slight browning applied to it if you're using linseed oil. Obviously if you're using mineral oil because it's clear, then you wouldn't get that effect, but a few of my cowboys I very lightly stained them like I have here. Applying a second little coat if you wanted to, just make it a little bit darker. You can see with that side, the paint has sunk in quite quickly compared to some other areas. So again, if you do that on a slow process of doing it once, it dries up quickly. So it's not going to take you, when I say slow, I mean do one layer, have a look at it, let it dry a little, and then put a bit more. So yes, you're doing it twice, but it does make a difference, I think, in the sort of realistic finish. If you go in for that sort of thing, these are type of cartoon caricature sort of type of things, so not necessarily mattering on this particular block, but on something else you do, it might apply, and it'd be something for you to learn. If you get that paint level to this sort of faint, faded look to start with, I quite like that now as that is, once I apply a linseed oil to it. It won't be done on this video because this will need to dry and the time is going to take, etc. So I'll leave this dry for an hour or two. Maybe I will. Okay, maybe. Let's see how the video goes and the time it takes. I'll let this dry, or maybe I'll come back and put another coat of linseed oil on it at the end for you. Now the white is dry already, but I'm going to get on with the black shoe. Again, just put a tiny bit of black on there. Oh, it's almost as if you just take a tiny bit. Let's put this in the background. So you squeeze the bottle just a little bit so some comes out, and then just dab the bottle top on there to get some black out. You don't need to be squeezing tubes of this out at all. I've probably wasted more than I've used. So I'm going to go in again and put a little bit of water on there just to help the black sink in a little bit to the wood. And again, I'm going to get a little bit of black, put it in the water. I'm just going to apply it. If I can, not get it on the jeans, like I did there. Trying to keep it in the camera, so trying to do it on the camera through the lens for you. If you do get a bit too much of an excess on there and it's watery, you can just wipe it off again with just a paper towel. So there's that shoot done. You my dog Kenzo in the background wandering around. It's getting close to that time where they have the FOOD words. I won't actually say that word, but she start going nuts. But yeah, I'm sure you dog people out there know what I mean. It's that time of day in the morning and the evening where they have the FOOD. She's looking up at me now in the corner. I can see in the corner of my eye now. Anyway, a bit more black on there. I've got an auntie of mine who's really good at her paintings. If you're watching, hi Elaine. Splendid job of all of the ones you've done over the many years. I keep seeing them coming up on Facebook all the time. Places and locations where we've all been in the family, etc. Really good job. Love them. So there we go. So again, it's all wet. It's given a light coat. Let's just see how that goes when it dries. I'm just going to stop a second, clear this away, and get out the oil and the wood stain ready. Okay, I've just got my wood dyes out, a few different oils I want to show you. I've just given this a second coat of that blue. You can still see there's still absorbing that blue in compared to what the paint finish is still. Again, we'll see what happens to that now in a bit when I put a wood stain or oil on it first of all, rather not a wood stain, an oil on it. You won't need to wood stain that's already coloured enough. So it doesn't really matter the brand on it. This is an old tin that my dad had. And I know this tin in particular is definitely about 20 years old, if not 30 years old. I'm not sure if that's £3.45 I can see on there. It looks like it. You won't get tin that for £3.45 now. It is a popular brand that I think is worldwide. It's just a wood dye. And this is Georgian medium oak. You see that in there? Not sure if you can see the £3.45 either. Yeah, maybe. I've just given it a bit of a shake. The reason why I shake it is there might be some stuff set in the bottom that might be darker than others. The lid is an old lid, like I said to you, very old. So there's no seal inside of paper foil thing anymore. But to give you an idea how dark that medium oak is going to be, if I use the tissue, you'll see how quickly now how dark that will go straight away. Okay, so that is obviously darker than what these are, much darker, yeah. So doing that gives you an idea how quickly that colour will stain up. And there's definitely lots of different methods. I might go into them in a video. If you guys want me to, then I will. I'm no expert at this. It's just what my dad's taught me and I've picked up from others. But I've shown you that just because don't go applying it directly straight on until you know what you're applying on. Try it on another sample of maybe a piece of the wood you've cut off or something like that, okay? But I'm lucky that I know this dye a little bit. So what I'm going to do is pour a little bit into the cap. And I'm going to leave it in the cap. Like I mentioned in the video, these grooves that come down here are darker. So you want to just use the tip of the paintbrush and just come down like that. Okay. It's better to go at this 2 or 3 times than it is to get too much on there the first time. Otherwise it'll be extremely dark. Okay. I'm not looking for it to look finished perfectly. It's no masterpiece. And this wood, again, you know, it's meant to be looking like as if it's planks of old wood, etc. So they wouldn't have been cut plain timber or anything like that, maybe. You know what I'm saying. Okay, so I'm going to do the same now. On these lines, you'll see now where it can run down any imperfections that's come out when I've used the V tool or the knife. So if there's a slice in there that isn't perfect, or it has a tear in the wood grain, I'm not sure if it's going to happen on any of these, I don't know. It's not something that I think you can spot very easily. And I certainly can't with my eyesight. But if we see one, you'll notice it straight away. It literally runs down the grain to find whatever the end is. It did it then a little bit. I'm not sure if the video caught that. There we go. So it gives it a bit of a grain effect. Okay. I haven't done them on the back. I'm just looking at the front of these. Did I even bother in the back of these? No. Yes, I did in that one. This one, I put a little bit of green in with the oil, or maybe I put a bit of the green paint on the corner there just to make it look as if it's gone a bit mossy sort of thing. So there's that oil finish there. Now what I will do is come to a wider brush to start with, and we'll give boiled linseed oil. So viscosity of this, the thickness of this is obviously thicker than the runny dye, wood dye, stain, whatever you want to call it. It's a bit thicker, so it's going to take a while to dry for this to happen, okay? But we're going to go ahead anyway. Now if you look in between those cracks there, or the grooves of the planks, some of that's not completely gone in with the dye, but as this is oil based, that will spread that out in time. By the time this dries, that will be filled. I'm not going to be too fussy with this, guys, okay? Again, it's not a masterpiece or anything, it's just a bit of a fun project that we did. Take your time if you want, and it's, you know, the wood is precious to you, etc., or it's a piece of wood that it's the only piece you've got left of whatever type you've used, then by all means take your time. I'm just trying to do it just for the sake of the video. Give some of you that haven't given a go at oil painting and staining and have stuck to just paint all the time, give you an idea of how it changes. Okay, you can work it in a little bit, it's not going to matter, because that stain is what it says it is. It's stained the wood, yeah? So it's gone in and it dries up really quickly. So there we go. You get an idea there now of how that finishes. Okay. Now the jeans, you can see now the colour of the jeans there. See if I can keep the camera in the same place. Get it to focus maybe on my hand. I'm not sure if I'm too close though. So remember I said about the blue colour of the jeans, pale. And then if they give them a bit of an oil colour, that'll seep in a little bit as well. This is quite a tanny colour. When you look at it, it's going to change the colour. This is how it comes out. So it'll do the same with the blue. It will dye in that blue because it's, it is a darker oil than what the wood finish was. You can do the feet again if you want. Another thing to remember is you can go over this oil with the paint if you want, but you have got to let this dry out completely. I tend to put a good few dabs on the tops and the bottoms of what they call the end grain, because that's where it really will seep in. Okay, just gonna do the same now on the top of the end grain, where you'll see again where it'll seep in really quickly. See it disappear? There's plenty on my brush. It's literally going to drip. Perhaps it's soaked it there, look. And it's gone. That's the end grain, as they call it. So the same is going to happen down the side, because we've cut the grain off, so the grain is going down that way. So all this oil is just going to seep straight into the wood. And the same this side will happen. Hope this helps you guys. Honestly, it's a totally different finish than painting. I love the smell of it, although I'm sure it's not too healthy for you to be stuck in for a good few hours or anything, but it doesn't take long. I'm going to purposely do the sides, the little coat as well. I'm going to show you then what happens if you try and put the stain down these lines on the coffin. See that colour there change? That has nothing to do with this brush at all. That's just where a piece of the wood is different, and it's just highlighted it even with that light oil. Put a bit more of the jeans there because it's seeped in. And again there. And in the feet. It's just absorbing in really fast there, as always. And again on the top, still absorbing in. You can leave these, dunking them in a jam jar or pickle jar or whatever, full of the oil. I mean, I buy it in a great big gallon container. Too close on the camera now to get the gallon container in front of me, but everybody knows what a gallon container looks like. So again, I'm going to do it on the back. So I want to show you the difference between oiling it first and then putting on the stain. So now that is worked in there, you'll see the difference. Now, when I get the other brush. So let's go back to this brush. And again, back to taking most of that off. Just going to tip the brush. See how much more even that is now than the harshness of that one. I'm not sure if it comes out so much on camera. But because you put oil on there, you kind of thinned it down. I wouldn't use the word watered because you haven't watered anything down. It's oiled down, but it's thinned it down, yeah. Again, dab that brush off. So if you want a more coarser look, this one will give you that. If you want a more even finish, because it will thin it down, it's not going to be as dark looking as what that is, because it was dry wood and the stain, whereas now you've got oil in the wood. So again, it's like adding white to blue, it gets lighter. My dog is very patiently looking now. She's walking back and forth my shed, wondering which eye is going to catch me to get my FOOD. So I know you're there, Kens. You're a good girl. Won't be long now. I know the time. Okay. Well, I hope the video wasn't too long, guys. Sure it might have helped some of you get an idea if you've never tried oil finishes before. I find it pretty therapeutic. Again, you'll never get two pieces ever the same, just like your carvings, simply because that colour stain is going to absorb differently on every piece of wood. It all depends on how dry it is, how close the grain is. But honestly, don't be afraid of it. Give it a go. I'm wiping it off now because otherwise it'll be all over my hands and my top and everything as well. So just wipe the excess off for the time being. I think you can actually see as well where his jeans have picked up a bit of browning now as well. Not sure if the light's doing that any justice or not. And his shoes look a bit worn there now as well. All that's left to do now is put a bit of black dot where the eye should go. I should really paint the eye again, but I've just used that brush. So we're just going to put the eye dot in the eye now. So there's the black. Just going to use the end of a cocktail stick. Kenzo, don't jump around. And there's the guy's eye. Go into the corner. Okay. Job done. Kenzo, I'm recording. I better go and feed this dog, guys. Hopefully you've learned something today. Hopefully you've enjoyed that video. I'll catch you in the next one. Hope you've had a great day. Have a lovely Halloween. Got a couple of videos coming up for you. This will possibly be one of them as well. Thanks very much for watching. If you've liked this, don't forget to click like and subscribe. Leave a comment below. Really appreciate any comments. Not getting many comments at the moment. Give me some feedback, guys. See what you want me to do or what you think is different. And we'll go from there. Let's run this quick before I put it all away. Oops. Oopsie-daisy. There we go. I can take it down in the house now and clean that tray up. If you're wondering how to clean that tray, guys, it's going to be soapy water, simply because you've got oil in there. But regular dish soap will do. It doesn't need to be anything particular you've got to go and buy or anything, okay? So again, thanks very much for watching. Take care. Like I said, have a great Halloween. Bye, guys. Have a good day.